Second intermission, the headlines with Elliotte Friedman. Elliotte, a lot of chat about goalie interference and video review this week. You said to Kyle Bukauskas on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, I hate it. I hate it because it's foreshadowing.
Yeah, all this stuff is pre-playoffs, so you're trying to sit here and you're trying to say, okay, what's consistent so we can prepare for the playoffs? I know it was a very frustrating week. So I want to take everybody back a couple of weeks, the GM's meetings. They talked about it with the managers there, and then they brought the media in and showed some of the stuff, and it was a really good presentation. I left there feeling very good about what I kind of had to know. And one of the things they went through was some of the questions that they ask during these reviews. Like, these are some of the questions that go on between the situation room and the officials on the ice. Did the contact happen blue or white? Was the contact deliberate or accidental? Can the goalie do his job? Does the goalie have time to reset? Any information the officials have, we don't? Or was it the actions of the attacking or defending player that caused the contact? And they showed a couple of examples and explained why they counted. And here was one I thought was particularly interesting to watch. It's March 1st. Sorry, Islanders fans. This is Brock Nelson in the Islanders uniform. And they say, look, this one is outside the blue paint. And why does it count? Because even though there's contact between Palmieri and Saros, they say, look, Palmieri's looking at the shooter the whole time. There's no intent for goaltender interference. The contact's not in the crease. Therefore, that's a good goal. So that's one of the things I keep an eye on. Now, it's my personal opinion, Ron, that the way this should be done is not like toe in the crease in the late 90s. That was a disaster. But I think if you go in the blue paint on your own volition and there's contact, it's on you. And that's the way I think this should be called. The problem is there's people in the league and GMs who don't like that because it gives the goalie an excuse to make contact. They don't want to make it that blue and white, so to speak. And that leads to a little bit of confusion, a little bit of controversy. And I tried to figure out some of the stuff that happened this week. Let's start in Calgary, the one the Flames and their fans hated, on the Coleman goal with Joel Farabee. Now, when I saw this, I was like, this is not going to count. Farabee goes in the crease on his own, the contact starts there, and it's a goal. So I didn't think it was going to count. But what I was surprised about is post-game, Farabee says he's told by the officials, look, if you're on the other side, the glove side, that might end up being a goal. But because it was the blocker side, it doesn't count. And I was a bit surprised by that. And then I saw a few other things. Brendan Gallagher was furious about the goal that was scored, the 4-2 goal, Philly-Montreal, and I completely understood why. I couldn't believe it went in when I saw it first, but it kind of counted when I saw it first. But, Ron, it kind of goes to that philosophy that Farabee was told about. Now, I still was not crazy about this goal, but look, Brink is on Dobish's one side, and Forster scores on the other side. That's why they felt that this one should be a goal. Like, again, personally, I disagree with it, but that's the reason it counted. And you look for patterns. So let's go to last night with Columbus and Vancouver. There's a goal disallowed, and I thought this was the right call. I don't think this should have counted. But look where Olivier gets tied up with Lankinen, and look where the puck goes in. It's on the side where Olivier gets tied up with Lankinen. So one of the things teams are starting to kind of think here is that it does matter what side it goes in on. I don't know that I agree with all of this, but you look for patterns, and that's the way it seems to be getting called right now.
I will say DeSmith, once he saw the opportunity, and I think you're going to touch on this, but he used his blocker too to get, so I don't know whether it's the side that matters, but the goalie, definitely the Dobish's right leg, he couldn't do his job, and Casey DeSmith was clever to get his block. Guys do, because you're trying to move space.
Well, so that's what we're going to talk about now, because one of the things that happens is there's players like Zach Hyman in Edmonton who kind of have the reputation. He loses a bit of support around the crease because it's happened so much. There are players who get on the embellishment list and they don't get the benefit of the doubt because they've been punished for embellishment before. So what some of the managers are talking about is we should know who the goaltenders are who try to take advantage of this, because maybe they should get less of the benefit of the doubt in the future. And the one that really popped up this week was the one Monday night with the Islanders in Columbus. And look, again, I hated this one in the moment. Palmieri gave Merzlikins an out. He does go to the corner of the crease. Merzlikins was smart enough to see it, and he can't see the shot. And that's why this one didn't count. And again, on the eve of the playoffs, I was not crazy about this one at all, but Palmieri does give, Merzlikins sees Palmieri come there, and he takes advantage. And I do think this is something we're going to start seeing soon, is something along the lines of managers asking which goaltenders are notorious for this so that we can start to get a better idea, just like the crease crashers. Like, the last thing we want is chaos in the playoffs. It's already hard enough to explain.
I like what you said there, though, that Merzlikins, I mean, he did make the contact. Once the guy was already in, Palmieri's in his crease, fair game. It's fair for Elvis to do what he did. I don't think that's embellishing at all. Okay, lastly, Rick Tocchet didn't go to review or challenge in this situation last night on the Boone Jenner 5-5 goal.
I think this is a good screen. Like, if you look at it, his skates don't go into the crease until, like, he jumps and the puck is in the net. I don't know, Ron. I don't know what you think, but I think that's a good stretch. I think that's a good non-challenge.
As Dave Tomlinson said, way too risky to take a penalty, you know, have a goal and a penalty with 3 to go in the game. Finally, here's just another part of this whole conversation. People say, gosh, we need more scoring. But you don't need goalies getting hurt. So Steele went into first Skinner, and then later on he went into Pickard, and then Rantanen, but I'll admit, Stewart's outside his crease when the contact is made. But that's why it's so imperative to keep that crease sacrosanct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think there was any deliberate attempt to injure or anything like that. But
you're trying to discourage.
Yeah, I mean,
change your route.
Yeah, that one. I know the Oilers, and I think we're going to talk about this later, that they took a lot of heat locally for not doing more about it. But on that Rantanen one, it's just an unfortunate accident, I think.
And to the Oilers fans, look at Jordan Binnington. He used to snap, and he didn't snap at a most critical juncture. That said, Cujo, Mick Magoo, we all remember that one. That's great, Elliotte. The Saturday.
I don't know that I solved anything. I didn't know I solved anything, but I tried.
Oh, by the way, Toronto,
yeah. So just like it's free agent season, and Toronto's looked at signed a couple guys already who made their AHL debuts tonight. There's another guy on Toronto's radar I'm hearing, and we'll see where it goes. His name is Ryan Kirwan. He played at Arizona State, 26 goals this year. I heard that they're looking hard at him.